There is no partnership right now because there is no structure that you understand. And therefore, you are protecting yourself, saying, well, okay, I'm not really sure what is it that we're doing here. But at the same time, I have a project that is quite important for me. So if we're going to go any further into this relationship, we're going to have to take it one step at a time so that I'm not sacrificing my integrity as a human being. So the partnership with yourself, it's like, what is your integrity? What is it that you're really not willing to negotiate? Okay, I see that. That's what I'm talking about. It's not so much about the transaction. The transaction is not that important. What is important for you is your own protection of your integrity. Just very briefly, two things, the type of relationship that you're in so that you don't get confused yourself. And then secondly, who are you so that you can walk the earth continuously with a sense of honor and a sense of dignity for you that is really non-negotiable. If somebody wants to play with you at that level, it's a different game now. We all wish we could go inside ourselves and just find like a paradise. Some do, we often find inconsistencies, doubts, fears, anger, struggles of some sort, right? So one of the things that I remember about one of our conversations was that if you accept that, right, instead of like you try to fight it, right? If you just say, oh yeah, so I'm not exactly so easy myself. But the beautiful thing about that is that there is nothing to fix. You don't have to fix anything within yourself. That's a belief that we've been taught by the market. So, you get used to like, oh, there is solutions, right? In fact, let me just speak briefly about that, because this morning I was reading an article and it said something like the 7 best practices for well-being. And I thought, oh, I want to see what the 7, that sounds interesting. I like the number 7, by the way, as you know. But anyway, so I started reading the article, and I won't go into the details, but what my experience was that, oh, if I do that, like let me remember one of them. If I, I think something was said about like, do breathing so that you can become present, like one of the practices, right? Okay, so if I do breathing so that I can become present, then maybe I'll have a better solution for my problems, right? Or I'll live more engaged with my life or something like that. But the trick here is that when you go inside yourself or a relationship with yourself, you are in a curiosity kind of experiment, because we don't know who we are. You're not trying to fix yourself because you don't know who you are. And then the second reason why you're not trying to fix yourself is because, and we haven't spoken about this root, right? But it's because you won't find anything that is fixable. At the end of the whole journey, you'll realize, wow, I was confused. I thought I was looking for some problems, but that was just a story that I had in my head. So anyway, just wanted to mention that again, since we had mentioned it before, that you are going inside yourself to protect your integrity, but this integrity, you are continually evolving in your own understanding and in your own discovery of the whole thing. Is like, oh, that's what that means for me. So you protect yourself because you are used to dealing with yourself in a way that is very kind and very, very curious, very almost um, like like a child. You wouldn't punish a child. I mean, most people wouldn't, right? They would say, okay, well, they're just learning. But it's the same for us. We're learning. So just to take it in your expression of yourself, if you allow me to give you a little bit of a reflection back to you, you were very concentrated on the external issue. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that you're not an external essence. No feedback from the outside can ever reach even, I would say, 1% of the feedback that you can give yourself. We're lucky. We sometimes hear feedback that is awakening to our true nature. If we're looking for satisfaction be given by another person, I think that's going to be a long journey of continuous dissatisfactions, because there is no one who can provide that for you. You're the only one who can provide it for yourself. So the ability to partner with ourselves is the foundation for you to discover your hidden agendas. That's why I say we have complicated relationships with ourselves. It's not as easy as, oh, sure, I am all aligned. No, we're not all aligned. If we're not partnering with ourselves, we don't get to discover what these hidden agendas are. And this is not trivial. It's not like, oh, sure, no. This is not like, let's all relax and just hang around so that we can just be truthful with ourselves. Well, eventually we'll get into some difficult territory. Let's just say it that way. You know, it's not so easy. So when partnering with others, and I don't know that and I'm not aware of my own misalignments, it's going to be very, very difficult. So being aware of how we are misaligned inside ourselves plays a huge role, because now you're not looking for another to align you. That's not possible. Now, that is going to save you lots of trouble in your life. There should be some sort of layer within your heart that is not like, that's good. Anyway, if it doesn't come now, it'll come later. But the other truth about that story is that we're not living in a world that functions like that. If another person is looking at you for confirmation of their own selves, in other words, they need you to agree with them so that they feel good. If that's what the other is doing, then you feel a little bit of pressure to, what if I tell my truth? Will that person still remain around, or will all be like in a fight or disappear? So we're constantly in this game. If I don't know that I'm misaligned, and the other person doesn't know that they're misaligned, and we are all trying to find alignment in a relationship, well, it's not going to happen ever. and it's going to be a lot of trouble in the relationship. You know, we are not aligned within ourselves. There is parts of us that are saying one thing, and another part of us wants another thing. I'm fixing myself an omelette, but part of me wants to have this, and the other part says, well, maybe you shouldn't put that. It's not going to taste good. And somehow there is an ongoing negotiation going on inside of us on a regular basis. But we do have to arrive at a negotiation. But like that in society, we have these kinds of relationships where we have to distinguish. In essence, it's very easy. You have to distinguish. Is this person bullshitting me? Or is this person really connecting? Like, are they trying to manipulate me? Or is this real? You have to be good at that in your gut. Body as teacher, the mind as student is one of the roots, and that's why through my years, I discovered that you have to have a good relationship with your instinct. Otherwise, your mind, as Mabel was saying, can take you to places that it's impossible to solve the issue. Oh, I think it was Cleo who was talking about the mind talking and talking, and it's like, I'm tired of my mind. What else is here other than my mind? So, we have different aspects of ourselves, not only in our mind, but in different kinds of access that we can have to different layers of who we are as human beings. And it's up to us to discover those layers. It's not someone else's job to discover the layers for you. So we're in a very interesting game. We're constantly needing to arrive clear in relationships. Otherwise, we're likely, that's why I say it's unfortunate, to be taken advantage of. And that's why, a big reason why there is so much hurt in society. People are angry, people are, really, violent. A lot of the violence has to do with this topic. I've been with violent people in my life. I've had knives pulled out in front of my face because of this issue. It's like, are you going to fuck with me, or are you really going to talk to me straight? And that's how people react. It's like, we don't have knives. Most of us aren't violent and we're not involved in criminal activities. But I used to work in the criminal justice system with juvenile delinquents. And this is the story, right? That where I used to see a lot of violence there. But the more I was able to create relationships with these people, the more I realized that they were not really violent. It's just that they were tired of being taken advantage of. So the only defense that they had was, okay, well, don't get close to me or otherwise I'll slash your neck. And, it's a protection mechanism. So you walk into a meeting, Marseille, you have to be ready. You get into an accident. You don't walk out of the car saying, oh, would you like to have a rose? And it's nice to meet you. And maybe we can hang out. No, it's a transaction. It's like you have a car, somebody hits your car. Now it's like, okay, let's finish with this transaction. But if I'm dealing with a positive impact movement community, well, you guys are not transactions. No one here is a transaction to me and shouldn't be to you. We are in a relationship. And therefore, I have to take care of myself. I cannot show up to these meetings trying for you to agree with me. If I don't agree with myself, I'm going to then look for you to agree with me, and then you're going to sense, oh, this is what's going on. There is a manipulation happening. And how many times do we show up to spiritual retreats or whatever, trainings, workshops, where It's like, wow, what if I disagree with what's going on? Well, that's not going to go too well. Exactly. You know, I was presenting to the highest teachers within the Buddhist tradition a few years ago. Famous, you know, the greatest teachers in the world. And they were concerned because I wasn't talking about the Buddha. You know, it's like, when are you going to talk about the Buddha? I said, I'm not going to talk about the Buddha, even though I've studied the Buddha for a long time. But that's not what I was there for. And I think I asked the question, like, is there an issue with this, you know, with you guys? And certainly there was. What, you're not going to confirm what we've been doing for 40, 50 years in these monasteries? I said, no, you know, I'm not here to confirm anything nor deny anything. I just want to have a conversation. Partnering with oneself is our responsibility. We have the greatest chance of creating healthy relationships when we are entering those relationships with a true curiosity for how it is that we can be with each other in a way that is complementary rather than kind of like providing solutions for ourselves, because in a relationship, we're not machines to be solved. Like, I'm not in a relationship so that the other person can solve me or something, or can complete me. And we have to know that ourselves. What parts of us are feeling needy, are feeling kind of like incomplete? Like, what are we seeking that we don't have complete within ourselves? So therefore, we know what kind of partner we're going to attract, because it's going to be relative to that blind spot that we have. That's who we're going to attract, is our blind spot. And so it's good to be aware of our blind spots. In an ideal world, when you have distinguished between your external circumstances and you have then lived according to your values, right? Then you don't go to the external circumstances to determine you. You're not connecting with people so that you are feeling complete anymore. You do that for yourself. So just to wrap it up for the moment, you know, when we in the community say, you know, living from the inside out, or we are the source of our impact, or our being is lived through our work, right? Whatever way you want to frame that, right? What we're really talking about is a shift from the external to the internal, because we live in a world that is so driven by external, internal patterns. So everything is mostly about that. And if you disagree with those external, internal patterns, you're going to be unpopular. You're not going to be liked so much, because people they don't want to be challenged that way. So to be yourself is not easy work. I mean, to be with yourself is not easy work. To be constantly inviting your integrity to everything that you're doing is not a piece of cake. It's not trivial, as I said, but it's foundational to the work that we're doing as socially conscious leaders. And, you know, we all need to make a decision at one point. Am I a socially conscious leader who is really basing relationships as the core of everything in my life? Or am I looking for outcomes and I am faking it? Not that that's bad, by the way. The word fake can sometimes be considered as bad, but I'm not using it in that way. Are you faking it then so that you can get your outcomes? And that's fine. You'll be in a lot of company if you're doing the latter. That's what most of our world is doing, so you won't be challenged that much. But you do have to choose, you know. And it's not that you need to choose as if you cannot go back, but it's more like you have to then live your life according to those values, right? If that's what you care about, that's what inspires you, then you do have to go in that direction, because of course then you won't be satisfied. That's what I mean by choosing, like making those choices. The way that we're talking about it is not that you're being selfish. No, it's that if you're not in integrity with yourself, you will not be able to give the best of you. So you have to be yourself. Otherwise, what kind of service are you in? That's why I asked you to ask the question of yourself. What is it that you're up to? Are you interested in outcomes to determine you? Okay, well then you have plenty of options there. Or are you interested in creating relationships that will deepen the cause that you're behind, or your non-negotiables? If you're up to that, then you do have to get into transformation, transformative processes. It's no longer enough to just listen to ideas.